Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the United Adventure Company presents Welcome Home, our homebrew 5th edition campaign. It's so great to have everybody here with us tonight. We are looking forward to this session very, very much. It's been a long day. Several of us are very tired, so bear with us if we get a little loopy or a little out of it. More so than usual, yes, please bear with us. You'll notice that Professor Matches is not with us tonight. They had something come up, so they won't be with us. But that's okay. We're going to keep on going. The name of this episode is Dinner and a Show. So we're going to have fun. We're going to have some fun. Hey, check it out, everybody. Look at our follower count. We're at 95. 5 more to go. 5 more to go to make our goal. So make sure you hit that follow button down there and create an account for your dog. Yes, please. You have to. But we're having a lot of fun with this campaign, and I'm adjusting things here in the background, so bear with me just a moment. I noticed that we were cutting Brata's character portrait in half, so we're going to fix that real quick. Pro streamers right here, y'all. Tell you what. Your chair's actually kind of low, Lindsay, or your camera is pointed high. One or the other. I don't know. Okay. Well, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. Figure it out, y'all. Yes, it does. So special thanks to h.art2000 over on Instagram for our overlay art. They did a great job. And we probably have said it a couple of times, but I want to throw it out there again. Angela, who plays Clark, made our logo for us. And all of the very cool character cards that you see later on in the stream during our break and during our closing segments, she makes those for us. So thanks. They look wonderful and they're amazing. Right back at you. I'm a mirror. Cha-ching. Sorry. So told you we're gonna be a little loopy tonight. I am a dork. I'm a dork, and yeah, I might need coffee for tonight as well. Somebody better put on a pot. Where are we at, folks? 95 follow. Yeah, you want to make a pot at the? We'll make a pot at break. We'll probably need some. You called me a dork, and that made me think of our friends over at Dork Tales, which always support us, and we like to support them as well. Yay, Dork Tales. I can't think of much else. When we last left off, does anybody else have anything before we jump into the game? Anything they want to shout out? Nope, nope, nope. All right, a whole bunch of nopes. Rick, your shirt is really messing with the background. You're like half disappearing. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I'll have to admit. So when we last left off, I believe the party was still split. You guys had not rendezvoused yet, right? Matches, Brata, Neris were on the airship, and the rest of the party had gone back to. Correct. What's her face? I have her name here somewhere. Let me pull this document up. Serena. That's right, Serena. Then you were talking with Airwell, the tanner, correct? Or no, Orphan, Minder Halt. Which one? I can't remember. I think you were still talking to the Fletcher, Orphan Minder Halt was his name. All right. See, I did my homework this week, y'all. I was right. But there is a dinner planned for you tonight at the Elven Castle house thing in the trees. Not really a castle, more of a palace in the trees. And I think that you had returned, gotten everybody back together, and called in and asked for a favor with the tanner. And that is where we left off last time. Does that sound right to everybody? Sure. All right. Right on. Um, you go get yourselves cleaned up. Brata, were you going to make your way back? I think you were going to leave Neris and Matches there to deal with the guest that you all had brought on board. Is that right? Okay. I am sure that he will. That was a nice little sound effect. Hold on. I don't think that you all are outputting on the stream. I'm not seeing the OBS audio go up and down. Let's see. Audio out. Oh, device not connected. Yeah.
Hey, look at that. You figured it out.
Look at that. See? They could hear me, but they couldn't hear you. And we're back. Is anybody even watching us tonight? Who knows?
Diamond's listed, but he hasn't said anything. So
We got a few people in chat. I see a few names I recognize that aren't bot names. So welcome, y'all. Sorry for the little tech. I just happened to open OBS back up, and lo and behold, Discord audio wasn't outputting. Thanks,
womp womp.
OBS,
Bum,
for your wonderful update and breaking of the audio all the time. Didn't miss anything. We got it all figured out. We know where we are. Brata and Neris are headed back to the city. Vale and Clark and gang are there already. I think you were gonna. What were you gonna do next? And Furbolg had already left to go back to the tavern to get cleaned up and do some stuff there. And then what were you all doing? You finished your conversation, called in a favor with the tanner, and what's next?
So what did we need from the tanner?
The tanner is really good at like making leather armors and grips for your weapons and all kinds of cool stuff. So it's basically anything that you would like, they can do for you.
I see.
It's just
Okay,
a matter
I just
of
didn't know if anybody needed something specific.
gotcha.
I don't think I asked for anything specific, so
I think it's a future favor, right?
got it.
Is what you
That
all
could be.
had said. It's a future favor.
The only thing I remember asking was the Fletcher was, for specialized crossbow bolts.
Yes. And he said he would work with you on that and
Yes.
see what he could do for you.
Okay.
And I think Clark had also asked for some arrows.
Yes.
He said he was going to make my bow a little quieter.
That's right, quieter bow.
Mm-hmm.
See, those are notes I didn't have because I can't find my notebook for whatever reason. I cleaned my room.
That's why you can't find it.
Quiet bow. Arrows.
Yeah,
All right.
those crossbow bolts, if they could be like plus 20 to hit, that'd be fine.
Yeah, he doesn't know what that means, but he says they'll be
Okay.
really nice.
Okay. Fair. That's fair.
Brata and Neris are walking back. Is there anything that you just want to walk back? Is there any conversations you want to have with Neris while you're wandering?
No, I think I'm good. We'll walk back and talk to everybody when we get back to the city.
Okay. Sounds good to me. So you guys, you make it back. There's no issues getting back. You make it back. Meet everybody back at, I guess, at the tavern. Inn thing.
Seems legit.
That was
yeah.
the plan, I believe.
All right.
Seems legit. We were supposed to meet up with the guy at the tavern to tell us the story, to tell the whole party the story that he had told me in private.
That's right. You were meeting up with him.
Yes.
So as you all meet up with him there, you're waiting for him to show up. Actually,
Okay.
The tavern master comes over.
Ooh.
He says, "Hey, folks, I know you've been in town for at least a day now, and seeing you around. You had a friend with you, a blue one, Furbolg, I think he said his name was. He left this note for you.
Oh.
And I'm trying to find it. He just sent it to me. And now I'm trying to find it.
It's lost.
Lost forever.
Lost to the winds of time.
Pro streamer.
Pro
It
streamer.
is. I just had it open. That's the other problem is because I read it and I was like, okay, cool. And now it's MIA. He says, meanwhile, I'll get you guys some grub. Oh, I know where it is. I'm looking in the wrong channel. Oh, yep. Pro streamer right here, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone in particular want to read it, or do y'all want me just to read it to you?
Oh, go ahead and read it.
Okay. So you open it up or the barkeep, the tavern master can open it up and read it to you. How about that?
That'd be great.
All right. It says, to my companions, being around these elves and seeing them living in harmony with the untamed wilderness has brought back memories of the home that I lost as a child. Knowing that the Order is probing their borders for further attacks, I cannot let others lose their homes and families while we chase at hopes and threads. I've gone out with a patrol to strengthen the magics that protect the woods and work with them to learn and create new defenses. By the time I return, you will have left to rejoin the Githyanki and connect with our next group of allies. Go on without me, knowing that the Fort of Wood will be a safe bastion protecting all who need it. Your friend, Furbolg.
Well, shoring up the defenses is always a good thing. It's a little odd he didn't tell us first, but it's probably a smart move.
Agreed.
So I left Matches. We left him at the airship. He decided that he wanted to make sure that he was present in case anything happened. There was the whole talk about whether or not the Order would be able to find the prisoner. So Matches is keeping watch. He's trying to extract more information out of that prisoner, although I believe Serena when she said that there was probably no more information to glean.
Oh, I'll bet that the Ublex is going to find something.
Well, at the very least, it'll be fed, and then we don't have to worry about feeding it anything for a while.
That's fair.
The barkeep comes back over, drops off some bowls of soup and bread on the table. Says, by the way, I don't think we've formally met. There it is. My name's Varan Oyer. I'm the owner of the Smoking Hollow Tavern here, and I really appreciate your business. Thank you so much for staying with me, and for what you're doing for all of our allies, actually, not just the Wood, but the Southern Ridge Defense. We appreciate you.
Sure thing. Eat soup.
So it sounds like your friend has found a new home, huh? He's taken off That's sad to lose someone.
Don't know that he's gone. I think he's just
Yeah,
gonna go help
Yeah,
shore
I
up the
mean,
defenses of the
Oh well,
Florida woods.
perhaps you'll reunite with him then. That would be good for friends.
What was your name again?
Oh, my name is Varon Oyer. VARRONOYEAR.
hair on my ears. Got it.
That is exactly how you would have heard it. Hair on my ears.
Varan O'Ear. Okay. And who are you again? The barkeep?
Well, kinda. I kind of own this place. I helped my father and his father build it. It's been here for a long time, about 400 years.
Oh, that's
Oh.
impressive. It's a nice looking place. Does it have a safe someplace?
It is a safe place. I'm glad that you asked.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have known this place was 400 years old. I guess you painted it recently.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And he picks up that you're probably not too wise to magic. So he says, yes, we built around the tree rather than through it. It just, it suits the place a bit more here in the wood. We like to be one with our environment. He says, I hear you have a dinner with Alyssa, Lady Alyssa. I'm sorry, I must remind myself that she is now the leader of our people.
Oh yeah, we got that thing tonight. I'll have more soup, please.
Oh, I'm sure you'll have plenty to eat when you get there. It won't be long till dusk now. This is just kind of a warm up for you. And,
Yeah, this is prep right here. This is priming the stomach.
All right. You all eat, hang out a little while. Neris eats, but not much. And as you're there, someone comes in. One of the guard, you can tell, nice chainmail, halberd. He walks right up to your table and he says, "It is time that you come with us." It's just one of him standing there. It's time that you come with us. It is time for the dinner.
I'm going to pick up my soup bowl and carry it with me.
Of course you are.
Absolutely.
Following Brata's lead.
I'm looking at Brata going, oh, is this how this is supposed to work? Okay, so I pick up my bowl and carry it with me too.
Clark, are you going to carry your bowl of soup with you as well?
No,
He has
absolutely not.
he has dignity, unlike the rest of us.
Yes. Sorry, I'll have an
I'm
itchy
the only
nose.
one left in the party that does.
Yep.
All right. And he turns and walks out the staircase down the path of the trees and leads you over to the main palace building. It's really nice. You can tell it's made from the wood around here, and again built around the tree and like in the living branches, and it's no damage to the tree for sure. The gates open, you go in, and he leads you into a long hallway. It's not really ornate, right? It's very simple,
Okay.
but it does its job. You can tell it's old. It feels solemn, like there's almost this sense of reverence that you get when you walk down the hallways. And eventually, after a couple of corridors turning, you pass some portraits on the walls and that sort of thing. He leads you to a large chamber. The doors open and there's a banquet set on a grand table. There's probably 25 place settings here.
So that's a lot of plates. I wonder who else coming.
And he overhears you. He says, you will be joined this evening by Lady Alyssa Chambois, Lord Kalan, Lady Erwin, Mr. I can't even say his name now. Varan Oyer, Aaron Arwell and Orphan Minderhold, as well as their families.
Oh.
Mrs. Please find a seat. When they arrive, you will rise and wait for everyone to come, and then Lady Alyssa will come in. She will be seated, and then everyone else can sit. The room is very nice. It's minimalistically decorated, but it's nice. The decorations here are nice. Very old silver candelabras along the walls. The place settings are all porcelain and silver. There are crystal goblets lining the table. This is like going to grandma's for Christmas dinner and having the best china laid out for you, you know?
Have you ever seen plates this fancy before? Like, those have got to be worth a fortune. You can see the twinkle in Vale's eyes.
I thought
Leave
they
them
were
alone,
decorative.
Vale.
People don't actually eat off of anything this nice, do they?
I think some places they do.
This is, I don't know, it seems like a waste of useful material that could be used in defensive purposes or battle or something. I don't know.
It's really fancy, though.
Vale, don't get us in trouble.
Never.
Clark, you recognize it as a formal setting from studies that you've had. You've seen pictures of things like this. You know there are protocols, and they're pretty common universally. So I'm going to turn this light off because I'm very shiny tonight. You know what those protocols are, and in fact, if you want to, I can't turn it off. It messes up my backdrop. Whoa. At times you may need to, you realize you may need to nudge your companions and keep them in line.
I've already failed my wisdom check for the instructions to stand when they come in the room. I rolled a 9. I failed.
Yeah, I was already planning on having to elbow Vale in the ribs a few times.
Okay. All right. Before everyone else comes in, another gentleman walks in, and Vale, you recognize him as the man you met in the woods.
Oh, okay.
Did I give you his name? Because I don't think I wrote it down.
You did, but I don't remember what it was.
Because I think I made it up on the fly.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yep. I don't have his name. That's okay. It's not important.
We're
Right?
pros.
His name's not important. I'm a professional dungeon master. I've been doing this for 30 years.
Hey guys, it's not important. He showed up tonight too.
That's right. He comes over and sits down next to you all and says, "We only have a few minutes, so you need to hear what I'm about to tell you quickly. I'm going to go through this very fast." And
Okay.
he proceeds to tell the story of how at the end of the war, the Great War, some 600 years ago, most of the elves of the world were being round up, and they were being used as and sent to labor camps and being used as physical labor, mainly to keep them out of the ability to do magic. Several of them were able to escape. They found a refuge here and started building what is now the Fort of Woods, a place of refuge for all elven kind.
Okay.
Did he tell you about Elian?
I think so.
Good.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. And I kind of wish Matches was here for this, but maybe he can watch and get the story later. I'm sure y'all will tell him the story. He tells you about Ellie and Quill, this mage that basically has been on a quest to to overthrow the universe. You know, evil mage stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was known to last be hiding out in the Blighted Vale.
Okay.
Which is a lawless land, even for those who have no laws. And it's basically the land of cutthroats and what do you say? He's thinking for the word, and this is why I think you get my drift there. It's not a safe place for anyone.
What was the name of this place again?
The Blighted Vale.
Okay.
He's on a quest to recover some supposed artifacts. Once he has them all, he'll basically be able to do whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. And so that's not good. We've been trying to track him, but we have been unsuccessful. And you hear in the distance footsteps coming towards the door. He says, I'm afraid I'm out of time. I can't be seen here. I must make haste and leave. And he looks over his shoulder as the doors start opening. And you all look up at the door, and you look back, and he is gone.
Fancy.
No dust, no smoke, no smells. Just, you don't see him. Everybody roll a perception since you're looking around. Since he's like disappeared and you're all looking around like, where'd he go?
Perception.
Well, Clark sees it. Oh, the chat's a little too low. I'm going to have to make another adjustment. And yeah, you actually all see as you looking around for this guy, you look over towards one of the windows and you see it close just ever so slightly. You see it just close, like he ducked out the window.
What was with that guy?
He's sneakier than me.
He's pretty sneaky, Neris says. About that time, the doors swing open. Halberd slams the wooden floor 2 times. And in walks a procession of people. Bork. Dog is borking. Dog is leading the charge. And
yes.
It is quite the group of people. You recognize the Fletcher immediately, and Serena is with him. Right next to him, you also recognize the innkeeper, but his family. You are assuming is with him. You don't recognize the next groups of people that come in. They make their way in, fill around the table, and they all just stand behind their chairs before they sit down. And they kind of look at you all, and Neris is looking back like, what?
I've been standing since the doors open and trying to get these people to stand up with me.
Oh, okay. You stood up when the doors opened?
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
I see Clark standing, and I'm like, I should probably stand.
Yeah, I'll stand up.
All right. Neris will stand up as well. And a lute begins to play, and flower petals begin to float across the floor, and in walks a very fair elven maiden Alyssa Chambois, and there is a announcement of her arrival. The leader of the elves of the Forda Wood and treaty holder to the Southern Ridge Alliance. Now, albeit known that Alyssa Chambois is the leader, and you shall make ready for her arrival. You know, and all the pomp and circumstance that goes along with it. She comes in behind the head of the table. She stands up there for a moment, looks around the room, and sees everyone and says, well, thank you all for coming tonight. I'm grateful that you could each be here. We have much to discuss and much to celebrate. But first, let us eat. And she pulls her chair out, sits down, and her assistants slide her chair in. And almost immediately, food starts being brought into the room. Everyone else takes their seats.
Vale is purposely going to be the last one standing.
Like, oh, I meant to do that.
So who is sitting directly around us?
You tell me. Are you all sitting in a line at the table? Are you sitting across from each other? Did you skip seats? Tell me how you're sitting.
I probably would have sat on one side of Brata.
I would have wanted to make sure we were all seated together.
On the same side of the table or across from each other, do you think?
I'm on the same side as Brata for sure.
So yeah, on the same side makes sense, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So for the sake of simplicity, we'll say that you all came about a third of the way down and sat down 4 chairs together there. At the far end of the table from you is where Lady Alyssa sat. There's a person on each side of her. Neither of them you recognize. Down from them are the Oyer family on one side, the Minderhold family on the other. Serena is probably closest to you all. And then there is another family seated across from you, rounding out the table. You haven't met them.
So I'm going to look up and I'm going to look at one of them and I'm going to go, who are you?
The eldest will look at you and he says, my name is Anan Arwell. I am the town's tanner. I always get these two guys mixed up. I'm the town's tanner and butcher and soap maker. And you would be?
Butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. Got it.
Who are all these people here?
This is
By the way, pardon my barbaric friend. It's fine. Nice to meet you.
And you fine folks are not from here, I take it. So, which one of you seems to be? He's kind of looking back and forth across all of you. Kind of the spokesperson for the group, I guess.
I look directly at Clark.
Some of us talk more than others, but we don't really have a spokesperson.
Oh, very nice. Kind of a group dynamic. That's wonderful. Well, this is my family, and he rattles off a list of names. There's about 6 kids. His wife, Veronica, and their children. Oh, excuse me, folks.
What was his name?
His name is Anan, A-N-A-N,
Oh.
Arwell, E-R-W-E-L. He says, okay, so since you don't know all these folks, sitting at the top, that's Lady Alyssa. You kind of probably guessed that, though, I imagine. And he says, and then to her left is Kalan. He's one of her primary advisors. He's an amazing archer and has notoriety here for his skills in archery. To her right is Erwin, a very, very accomplished mage, and some say he has the ability to see she has the ability to see events that have yet to happen. And that is their families. And then you've probably met Varin and Orphan.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that you know everyone here, just so you know, they're going to ask you in a minute to introduce yourselves to everyone. And as the last food is settling down on the table, the gentleman at the front left, Kalan, as you were told his name is, stands and begins his little dinner speech. He says, well, thank you all for coming. It's wonderful that you could all be here tonight. It's a grand event that we have. The signing of the treaty was a most major thing, but unfortunately, we have some other business that we must discuss, as well as the final arrangements must be made for our previous and late leader, Mr. Wilton Chambois. And you see Alyssa kind of tear up just a little bit as her father is being spoken about. And he says, we have some new guests at the dinner table tonight. Would you each please stand and introduce yourselves to the party and tell us what it is that you seek by coming to the Fort of Wood? And everybody roll an insight on that.
Insight check.
Damn,
Nice.
Vale.
Nice.
Vale is digging into the elven appetizers already.
Mhm.
Why did I roll? One was perception from earlier.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Neris leans over, Clark, to you, and did you catch that at the end? He kind of whispers.
Did I catch that at the end? I don't know.
Yeah, you kind of heard a little inflection of his voice that was almost condescending. So I don't like the way this man speaks of us. And he stands up kind of abruptly, Neris does. And he says, I am Neris of the Githyanki. We have been awakened and called to battle. I serve my leader. And he thumps his chest. The greatest warrior, Brata. And then he sits back down.
All right. Well, I'll take that opportunity then to stand up and introduce myself. I am Barata. I'm the greatest warrior of all time. I'm going to lead the army that's going to protect this realm from the Order of the Sacred Grove. They are our sworn enemies. We have been sent from Karangothar to round the signatories of the treaty. It looks as though the Order of the Sacred Grove has sent out assassins to kill all of the leaders have signed the treaty, and we are here to help rally the troops. Everybody's been called back to Karangothar as a rallying point for the Great Army. And then I'll abruptly sit down.
And I'll go, okay, I guess it's my turn now. Veil of Shadows, expert marksman, and also aspiring businessman. And I can think of no better way to serve those around than to remove certain influences of the Order of the Sacred Grove so that we can all just get down to business, the business of making money.
Brata starts like laughing at Vale.
Okay.
Like, businessman. Okay.
I'm a businessman.
If you say so.
I'm a businessman.
And all eyes at the table turn to Clark.
I'm assuming Vale sits down after this
Yes.
very
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
awkwardly. Clark
Yeah.
stands up. Clark Gale of the Order of the Twin Moons, here with my companions to aid in the overseeing of the treaty. And you are?
My name is Kalan. I am the military advisor and chief strategist for the Elves of Forda Wood, and I am the protector of our crown. So he apparently is the bodyguard as well as the advisor.
Who does this
I
Kellogg
don't sit
guy
down
think he
until
is?
he's done introducing himself.
Lean over and I whisper to Prada, who does this Kellogg guy think he is?
I don't know, but if he is their leader in battle, then we should get to know him. He may end up being important.
It's probably fair.
And they go around the table, and he sits down, and he looks across, and Erwin stands. It says, and I am Erwin, the other advisor to Lady Alyssa. And it was I that foresaw your coming and allowed you safe passage through the wood. We appreciate that you are here, and we hope that enforcement of the treaty will go equal for all those who are called. We have heard stories that some have gone running when they were approached by your people to take up arms and fight, that they fled. Is there truth to that?
I think he's talking about the gnomes.
Well, the gnomes went back to Karengother,
Yeah.
where they were supposed to go.
Who have you heard has fled?
We heard there was a tribe of, what were they? Golems? Golem? The little tinkerer people.
Oh, the gnomes. Yeah. Yeah.
They
The
didn't-
gnomes.
They didn't flee, they went where they were called.
It's not the way we heard it, that they went running in terror, that a great beast rose from the ground and scared them.
Oh, that beast. Oh yeah, that's our airship.
Yeah. That was our fault. It's fine.
They're heading to Karengother though. They're upholding their end of the alliance.
They're going there to make stuff for us.
And what is the penalty for those who refuse the treaty? After all, it was supposed to keep us all safe, and look what it's gotten us now. People killed, innocent children's lives being uprooted. He's very upset.
I pull my crossbow out and I set it down on the table. They're dealt with.
And this erupts a little murmuring around the table. You see some people nervously shifting in their chairs. Clark, you recognize this instantly as a breach of protocol to show aggression in a peace dinner.
May I ask why you don't want to uphold your end of the bargain?
We didn't say we wouldn't. We just want to make sure that should others not, that we won't be left alone like we were in the past.
I'm just gonna grin in a very uncomfortable way. Oh, don't worry. Everybody who's called is going to answer.
You seem quite confident in that. Confidence can lead to cockiness.
Failure to uphold your end of an alliance could end in much worse.
And it gets a little tense in the room. Just a long pause.
It sounds like you're willing to hold up your end of the bargain with the treaty. We've seen to it that the gnomes are on their way to uphold their end, and we're on a journey to make sure that others uphold the treaty. What more do you want from us?
I suppose nothing. It's just the assurances that we won't be left alone again to defend ourselves when we've signed up with others. It's been quite disastrous in the past, has led to all the near annihilation of our entire race, as I'm sure you have studied about.
Perhaps we have. Why don't you tell us what you know about your history, your past?
I think that would be a wise idea, so you know what we're getting yourselves into. So, at the end of the last Great War, a peace was signed across all the land. A treaty, they called it, where no one would ever be harmed, we would never have any problems. And it was good for a while. And then the order began. And as the order grew, it began raiding innocents, taking people.
Sounds like
Putting-
the order. Bunch of bastards.
I would agree. Taking them, doing different things with them, putting them in labor camps, forcing them to sail ships across the ocean and trade their goods for them. It was quite demoralizing for a number of people. Then they came upon the elves. The elves, we had banded together in a place, in a single glade. It was nice. It was peaceful. We lived our own lives. Left others alone. We grew our own crops. They came. Their axes started taking our trees and our forest. When we talked to them then and said they couldn't have it, that it was our land, they said, no, it is our land. We were here and you're in our territory, so it's ours. Before you knew it, they had just about clear-cut the entire forest, and we were forced out. Those who couldn't leave because they were old or young or weak or injured, well, they got scooped up by the order. We had a choice to join them, sure. Join them, work for them, pay our tithes and our penances, or die. So many of us left in the night. We struck off. We came here, across the ocean, found ourselves a new home.
What exactly did the order do with the people that it took?
Well, several number of things. There were slave camps. There were it's a little difficult to talk about. Some of the women elves were traded off into marriages, I guess is the most polite way to say it, for territories, treaties, that sort of thing. The order quickly started growing and built its own network, if you will, of its own people. Before you knew it, there was another evil in the world, if you will. They called themselves good, but what is good? What is evil when all you do is disrupt the balance?
What do you know about the network?
I don't know much about it. Hi, doggo. Doggo is crying. Hi, doggo. I know you want pets. We know that the order was on a quest. They had sent out a mage to retrieve the 4 artifacts that were lost at the end of the war.
Quill.
Yes, you've heard of him.
Yeah, there was a guy here earlier that was telling us about him.
And they look at each other in a bit of panic, like, could it have been him? No, surely it couldn't have. Not him.
Well, whoever he was, he climbed out the window after he was done telling us his story.
All right. And
Okay.
Kalan will call one of his guards over, and you'll see a couple of guys run out, and you'll hear some ruckus down the hallway as they send a search party out into the
I
forest.
kind of elbow Brata a little bit and go, I don't think you were supposed to say that.
Hi. And he says, we hope that you would have more information about the order than we would, but seeing as you already know of Quill, and you surely know about the 4 artifacts.
I can tell you one thing about the order. They're easy to kill. I've killed a lot of them.
What is their what do you think their driving force is?
They think that they're right. They think that they're better than everyone.
What is their weakness? Do you know their weakness?
Their pride. They think they're strong. They think they're organized. They think that they know battle tactics. We, and a few of our compatriots that aren't here, have successfully done some pretty significant damage, and there's only been like 6 of us.
We did burn down the.
We burned down their
in
temple. Yeah,
Fruiton.
that's right. We did that
That was us.
up in Fruiton.
Haven't heard of that. But if
You should look into that. It was a good one.
If you executed a strike as such, then that's definitely good. And at this time, Kelana will kind of chime in and says, who's planning these attacks that you make? Surely.
Nobody. We just go in.
That would be I.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's Brata's the leader, but
I'm just the war leader. I'm not good with this whole diplomacy thing. I think that's more Clark's jam.
Can only do so much when you're trying to herd cats.
Oh,
I look at Vale.
good one. Good one. Oh, man. Yes, I know
oblivious.
Doggo.
Absolutely
driving me
oblivious. Didn't hear
Absolutely
it.
bananas.
Wasn't even paying attention.
I'll go take care of Doggo.
Thanks. I think he needs the thing. He's trembling. He is so needy right now. Go see mommy. I think he's hungry. So they ask a couple other questions. What do you think the greatest threat is that we, the elves, face when it comes to the order? We know they've been able to breach our perimeter, but we're working on that, as one of your companions is out right now helping fortify the circle. What's the greatest threat that we may face with these creatures? And no offense, why are you traveling with the Githyanki when they are thought to be an extinct race?
That's probably a better question for Brata to answer.
Or Neris.
Or Neris. Yeah, Neris would be a good one to answer that one too. But as far as your greatest fear or weakness would be is we've had a lot of success against them, but don't underestimate them. Don't underestimate them at all.
Clark, you said your name was. You seem to be a studier of the art of war. Are their tactics solid? This is Kalan asking you. Do they fight in an organized manner? Are they trained warriors, or are they just vagabonds that are called to service, do you think, in your experience?
Overall, they're vagabonds, but they're weak, but they're very organized. They know what they're doing. They know when to come unexpected. They're not hard to take down. They're just hard to track.
Looks at
I would
Er-
agree with that.
He looks at Erwin. Perhaps they're using some sort of magic. And Neris will stand up and say, as for my involvement and the people of the Gith, which we are strong, the prophecy of the Gith says, when the 6 become 30, the scales swing. In darkness they will find their light. Until the truth is known, he won't feel the sting. The goose shall be the fight. As the hunter pulls the string to bring forth a day that is bright. And I will send you all that. That is the prophecy that the Githyanki believe in.
Wow.
Actually, might have it in Rule 20. Let me look. I think I already put it in there.
Why haven't you told me that before?
You didn't ask.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
Yes, actually, I do have it in Roll20 already, so I will put it in visible for everyone. Players, save changes. It's called Prophecy.
Prophecy. I see it. Cool.
And Erwin and Kalan kind of look at each other as if they remember this prophecy, but only heard it as a story, as a, they're like, wait, is that? And Erwin actually says, we've heard that before. Always thought it was just a bedtime rhyme. It's nonsensical. I can't make out anything. It just sounds like gibberish to me. I don't understand it. But if it is what you say it is, and it's a prophecy, then so be it.
One of the lines from the prophecy strikes a chord with Bale. The goose will be the fight, or whatever it was. And he will mention that when we were in Fruiton, I think we got some information about the OSG's leader, Commander Gooseberry, being up in the north. And I want to mention that to Kalan and let him know that we know who potentially is leading the order, and at least vaguely where to find him.
Huh. And here I always thought it meant the bird, the goose. They're mean. Have you ever gotten attacked by goose? They're actually very mean.
They're
very tasty.
I just killed it and then it was fine.
Yes. Straight to the killing with you. I see how it is. Maybe if you spend enough time here, we'll take a little of that out of you. But just a little. You need to have some kill in you.
Don't expect much from this lot.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm a cat. It's a bird. Do the math.
What are you trying to say, Vale?
Nothing against you. I was talking about a goose.
Listen, the two of you, it's fine. Don't do anything. We're all friends. We're part of the same tribe.
Well, if this prophecy is true, then it explains a lot. It explains why we've been missing members of our community, why people have gone and just disappeared, why we've lost 7 people in the last month. So,
More people are just disappearing from the town.
yes. It happened when we first settled here. They tracked us. They found us somehow. That's why we built the maze. That's why we put the magic up. We haven't had any problems until just recently. So somehow they're able to get to us.
Do they have scouts? Or magic?
Magic would be the only way. The gems of true seeing.
Gems of true seeing. Yeah. Yeah.
They all
Mhm.
have those.
Yeah. They have those.
They have
We-
those.
We have those too, but that's only because we stole them off of the ones that we killed.
Then it's quite possible they have a globe of true seeing.
Had. Let's go with had.
What do you mean had?
Let's go with had.
You destroyed it?
Not gonna say that.
He looks a little worried and concerned. And Erwin chimes in. Have you seen a globe of true seeing?
Maybe.
Was it there in the temple? The one you say you burned down?
It was there. Sure.
We have it in our possession.
Okay.
Braton's just going to be like all out there with it, huh? Okay.
You should have told me if you wanted me to keep this a secret. I didn't know.
You have it. You have it with you now? Like, you have it with you.
Hmm?
On your person right now. We must see this.
Who had it?
Pretty sure Furbolg had
I
it.
think Furbolg had it, yeah.
Yeah, Furbolg had it. So it's not with us, but it's with us.
It's in good hands.
So if they have that, then that means that they have the ability to teleport as well.
Wait, you can teleport with a gem of true seeing?
Not exactly, but it makes it easier to cast a certain spell that will make you take one step to wherever you need to be. It's very complicated, and don't want to bore you with the details, but it's not hard to do once you have a gem of true seeing, or a globe. You can see multiple places. That would allow them. And they just start talking, kind of to each other, Erwin and Kalan. Well, that would allow them to be able to just jump in with a group of people, do their thing, and jump out, and they would have fast strike teams, and that's probably what happened to Wilton. They got the information from him. That's how they know where we are.
Wilton, Lady Story, the orphanage. I just start rattling off random locations that they unexplainably were at like that.
It must be. So if you have the globe, you may have been able to stop their ability to do that. So these attacks that you say happened, did they happen before or after your attack on their temple?
Most of them before.
You say most. Was there more? Was there one that?
Well, so I'm kind of fuzzy on the timeline as far as when Master Chamberlain was killed. Like, I don't know if that was before the attack on the temple or after.
Oh,
Were we ever given a timeline for that? I feel like we weren't.
No.
not an exact timeline. No.
Okay.
It happened sometime before the attack on, or right around the same time as the attack on Lady Story,
Yeah.
because you got back, and that's when you got word that others had fallen victim.
Yeah.
The attacks seem to have happened after we burned the temple.
Do you think they
Or
have
right
two?
around the same time because they were all gone while we were burning the
Right.
temple.
We got there and there was very few like
Oh,
warriors there. Like they had already left, you know?
that's what it was. It's exactly what happened. You disrupted their attack.
Mhm.
They could be vulnerable.
Yes, we did. Yeah, you know we did.
Not before they burned our orphanage
Fucking
to the
right.
ground and killed half of the children who lived there.
They killed
Yeah.
children? See,
Oh, but we
Friends.
killed all of them though. Like every last one of them, just mowed them down. It was glorious.
these beasts, they think they're good. And about this time, Lady Alyssa says, please, can we stop talking about the warring and the fighting and just enjoy a simple dinner with new friends for once? Please. And the two kind of look at each other and like, oh, our apologies. Our apologies, milady. It's I know it's a stressful time for you. Kalan tells her, especially with all the talk of your father. Perhaps we should talk about this tomorrow. Maybe just us, the advisors, and your party. Tonight is supposed to be a night of celebrating new friends, and perhaps we should get on with the festivities.
So food then. We're gonna have food.
Oh yes,
I can be totally on board with food.
and Lady Story, or not Lady Story, Lady Eliza looks over and kind of nods at one of the elf servers, and they bring out. They go in the back and just start bringing out a second round of food. So you had appetizers first, little wafers with a little paste on them, plenty of elven wine in the glasses. And now comes out roast duck. There's deer. There's salads. Pretty much any kind of food that you want to eat. As you're eating, they kind of almost like this musical chairs. Just people just get up and start mingling around the room. People will finish a
Okay.
plate. They'll go set it on a platter, go talk to somebody, come back. And one of these times, Erwin comes over and stops by the four of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we said we weren't going to talk about it, but something else is just on my mind. How were they able to do all this so quickly? They must have
What
been
do you mean?
planning this for forever.
What do you mean quickly? I would say that they've been working up to this for quite some time.
Well, and that's just it. Were they working up to it? Had they built up to this, or was this just a sudden change? Something happened. They're getting assistance from someone.
That's a possibility.
But who
I don't know
would want
who
to
it would
help
be.
them?
Would it be that Quill magician that
Well,
we were told about?
Elian Quill is a dangerous mage, and he very well could be helping the Order of the Sacred Grove for his own motivations. But I don't know what he would stand to gain out of it other than control of a large force, and it doesn't do him much good without the artifacts. She kind of pulls up a chair and kind of scoots over next to you, and she says, see, the 4 artifacts are very important. There's a staff, there's a crown, there's an axe, and there's a globe.
Uh-huh.
And with these 4 things, it is said, now nobody's actually ever seen it, but it is said, and this is what kind of started the Great War 600 some years ago, that with these 4 items, you're able to manipulate reality. And in doing so, it would truly disrupt the balance of the multiverse. Elian was a great collector of magical items. He's lived a long, long time. He was alive before the Great War, and if he is still alive now, I can only imagine what his collection has grown to. They say it was destroyed, but we don't believe that here.
Nope.
It was a giant library. It held just about all the knowledge of the world in it, and to keep him from maintaining that power, that ability, if you will, the artifacts were taken from his tower, they say, and scattered to the four winds, so to the four ends of the realm, buried, to where they could never be found, anti-magicked, the whole 9 yards, right? Super safe and protected because they couldn't be destroyed.
Well, apparently they weren't super protected. We managed to get our hands on one pretty easily.
See, that's just it. I don't know if you have one or not. It could be. It could be the globe. I'm wondering if it is. I'd like to see it sometime. Just you can hold on to it. I would just like to examine it to see if it is the artifact.
Well, okay.
Now, if Elian is trying to do this, then and you have the orb, there's a good chance he's going to come after you.
Bring it.
We could set a trap, actually, to see just what artifacts he already has.
That is a brilliant tactical strategy.
They think I'm all magic, but I can kind of think too. See, I'm thinking if we could get all the artifacts, then perhaps we could throw them into the Great Forge in Strana Falls and build them into one weapon that we could use against Elian and the Order of the Sacred Grove and rid the realm of them for good.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure. Sounds good to you. You love this plan. The other thing, I mean, if Elian has even 2 of these, he's going to be really powerful.
So he had all 4 of them at one point.
Yes, but that was before he went to wearing the black robe. Elian used to be really nice, cool kid, actually. Then something happened. I honestly think it was the burning of his tower and the stealing of his knowledge that really pushed him over the edge. He's been plotting and scheming for 500, 600 years now to...
Did you know him personally?
It's been a long time. We grew up together in school, and then he went away. It was said that he was on a knowledge trip, but we all feel that he may have been one of the ones that was taken. Many of the children that couldn't make it out of the glade were taken, and we fear it might have been him as one, which would explain how he came into the knowledge in the first place, because he was there with the order and had the opportunity to learn, study the magic. It's sad, really. I hate that he turned the way he did. We crossed paths about 300 years ago. He was doing well. He had just turned and began his quest for revenge, I guess, and he and I had a conversation. It was tense. It was curt. At the end of it, though, I told him I never wanted to see him again because he went against everything that all of us believe in. He felt we had abandoned him. He felt we didn't send anyone to rescue him. We couldn't. We were just barely able to rescue ourselves, let alone mount a mission to free our people. He didn't understand, though, and I think he feels some grudge. Perhaps that's why. If he is in league with the Order, perhaps that's why they're coming our way.
Could be.
Says, I know we're not supposed to be talking about this stuff tonight, but I just thought that you should know. I wanted to make sure I could ask if I could see the globe tomorrow, maybe.
I mean, I don't know. It's not here.
We don't have it on us.
I understand, but if you run into your friend and he gives it back to you, that would be, and I can see it. I can give you all the information about the other ones if you wish.
Yes, please.
About the other
do.
artifacts, if you need those. It
I
would.
mean, that'd be good to know.
Yes.
Yes. Let's see. So there's the Staff of the Moon. I'm going to read these out, but then I'll also put them in Roll20 as a handout for you. Add handout. The Staff of the Moon provides resistance to radiant damage and gives you increased ability to cast spells. So basically, over the table, you gain a +2 to your spell save DC. It can be recharged. It has a maximum number of charges and recharges. Trying to see when daily when exposed to moonlight. You have to bathe the staff in moonlight so that it can recharge. If you do end up completely dispersing it without recharging it, it will explode into dust.
That's good to know.
And yeah, you might not want to be around it when it does, because it could hurt you pretty bad. That's the prophecy. Don't need that window. I need this window. The globe, you already know what it does. Copy. There's the Crown of Knowledge. The Crown of Knowledge increases your intelligence and gives you the ability to store spells in the crown that can be cast by the wearer at their stored spell level. The third is the Axe of the Dwarves. The Axe of the Dwarves is a I think it's actually, I don't have the description written because it is a actual artifact in the book, but I'll put it in the handout. Come here, book. Why I didn't write it down, I don't know. Probably because I was like, oh, I could just read it out of the book. It is not like the weapon, the Axe of the Dwarves, however. This is the big one. Is a magical crafting axe. Can be used to craft or destroy magical items when used at the forge, the Great Forge. So,
okay.
Wait, I think that's the gist of it. It has some bonuses to attacks and stuff as well. They're pretty impressive bonuses. I think it's +5 hit, +5 damage. Yeah. Where are you, Axe? And the last one is the Globe of True Seeing. it is able to spawn gems of true seeing and gives you the ability to see into the future, to see different areas, all that good chance. All of these items do require attunement, as you know. I can't find it right now. I'll add it later. I don't want to be too distracted here from this, but I'll add that in. The two other ones are in there in the handout. Let's see. Did I give it to y'all yet? Nope. Here you go. All players. Save. There you go. The big one is the Staff of the Moon. That's the one with the biggest description. The Crown of Knowledge. The Axe of the Dwarves. And Globe of True Seeing. There you go. You know, I bet we could talk Lady Alyssa into helping out as long as, you know, we figure out what we can do about Quill and get some more information. There's nothing else going on. Nobody else in the world. See, Alien had the staff and the crown, we think. We think he had those.
Okay.
Our intelligence, you know, he has a hideout. And whew, man, I never want to go to that place. It is it's pretty rough. Down in the Blighted Vale.
Lighted Veil.
Yeah. It's where his hideout is, they say. Now, once you have these artifacts, if you get them, if you go get these, and he has them, and you recover them, if you get them to the bastion of Ashix the Dire, you can meet Mikkel Gran there, and he should be able to remove the binding, the attunement, if you will, if Elian has become attuned to these weapons. He can remove those there. And then you can take those to Strana Falls, where the dwarves should be able to forge them into one weapon. Do you think we can do it?
Oh. Possibly.
Well, I'll let you sleep on it. I'm going to go back to the party. If there's anything you need to know, just let me know. And we'll see what we can do about talking to Lady Alyssa and getting some deciding how much help we can give. We're, you know, don't have a lot, but we can give some help in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
You've given us a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you do have that globe, that will be very helpful in all of this. It really will.
Indeed.
And she gets up and heads back over to the other end of the table and sits down, goes back to eating. About that time, a wave of servers come through, pick up all of the plates and everything, and start bringing out this elven dessert. A bard comes in and starts playing some music. It's, you know, typical elfy music.
In the interim, while all of this is happening, and after she walks away, I just kind of sit back in my chair and I go, not real sure I like that one.
We should talk about this in depth as a group.
I agree with that. I
Not
don't.
here.
She's awfully interested in the globe.
Something occurred to Neris and I, and we were talking. I wanted to share it with you, but not here.
Okay.
Over the table, I agree, but my insight check was shit. So Clark doesn't know what you guys are talking about.
All right. The night winds down. Did y'all want to anything else? They start talking about the funeral. They still have not buried Wilton. There is apparently a very long process that goes into it. So they start talking about the funeral arrangements, how they're going to take care of that. I'm looking for the right bard music. Here we go.
Sure, that sounds great.
Bard music. And I should have the dinner party on. Oh well. I have like dinner party music and everything. I'm a bad dungeon master this week.
No, you're not. You're fine.
Oh. So what do y'all want to do? You're talking not too many people are engaging with you. Small talk, where you from, that kind of stuff, but nothing of real interest. So what do y'all want to do here?
I shall take my leave of this place. I will speak to the two of you later. Come, Neris. We'll leave.
Okay.
This is not the sort of place Brata really wants to be.
Very well. Y'all head back to... I guess you head back to the tavern then? Everybody going back?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll stop in with Lady Alyssa and thank her for the dinner and leave.
Okay. And she appreciates you being here and taking the time out, and hopes that you can have some time to talk in a less formal environment where we can actually discuss the terms of the treaty and how we're going to assist and exactly what it looks like. Perhaps in the coming days after my father's funeral, we can have a conversation about that. In the meantime,
Okay.
my village is your village. Please help yourselves and make yourself at home.
Okay. Help myself. Got it.
Oh, I do not think that means what you think it means. But I know what you're going to do. I'm looking for something real quick. Oh, there it is. When you all get back to your rooms, I guess, there is a bag on the table, and it has in it I've made Furbolg's character sheet available to all players so that you all can see the inventory that he had.
Okay.
Which I think somebody was keeping track of it otherwise. That way y'all can kind of go through and see if he had the globe, what else he had, that he probably would have left behind for you guys.
Okay, so we've got the teleportation orb. That's good. Crystal ball of true seeing. Okay.
So if y'all want to talk about that in Discord or whatever, and how you want to keep track of who has what there. That is fine by me.
Okay.
Otherwise, unless there's anything else you wanted to do, the night is going to pretty much come to an end, unless y'all wanted to talk about anything and discuss anything amongst yourselves.
Well, yeah, I think talking to Brata for just a minute about the conversation that she and Neris had is important. Going into any meetings that we may have tomorrow with the leadership of the elves.
So, when Neris and I were discussing things earlier, he made the point that the OSG is always seeming to be one step ahead of us, that we're always following closely behind. And he thinks that there have been plants all along, that each one of these clans, and I look at the hit list, each one of these clans has had somebody close to the leader who has gone to assassinate them. Lady Story just got lucky.
Yeah.
And we were nearby to help. But the rest of these, I mean, look at it. We've got essentially a teenage girl who's in charge here now. And then that nincompoop gnome who didn't seem to know his ass from a hole in the ground, who became the leaders of the gnomes.
What are we going to find when we get to the next stop on our journey?
Well, a little boy that's king of a large realm.
Yeah. That's a good point.
If you were looking to take out your enemies, typically from within is one of the ways to do so. It would not be my preferred method, but Neris made the good point that perhaps in a lot of cases, sowing the chaos within your enemies by basically hiding your agents within their ranks could cause this.
I mean, it's a good theory. Both the orphanage and Lady Story had Josh on the inside.
So who would be on the inside here?
It would have to be a trusted advisor.
This Arwen, what was her name?
Either that or the military strategy guy, one of the two.
Well, she seemed rather interested in our globe.
Very much so. But that might be because, and maybe I'm entirely wrong, but maybe she's suspicious of the other guy. She never did say, but it's possible, right?
Seems to be just some distrust. Clark, what do you think?
Could be anyone. We don't know enough about them to tell, really.
I would also point out that the name that she gave us for Ashix the Dyer, Mikkel Gran, is on this list and marked out.
Yeah.
So the person that could destroy the attunement is assumably dead.
And Neris says, but if she were a plant, wouldn't she know that?
If she's a good plant, she won't let on that she knows that.
Smart kitty.
I'm smart sometimes.
He pats you on the head, scritches between your ears. Smart kitty.
I don't like the noise he's making.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Yeah, let's not do that ever again. That's almost as bad as riding a bike.
Oh yeah,
let's not do that. Luckily, it looks like it's just us on the stream for now, but YouTube's been catching some more hits, so let's not.
That's fine.
Yeah, let's.
It's fine.
Yeah,
we're marked not for kids. It's okay.
I know. That was a little squicky though, man.
That was a little much.
Yeah, that was a little. That was a little. One or two of those too many.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
One or two.
Hey, my hands were always visible, so
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
Oh boy, oh boy. All right.
how? I guess then the questions for us to ponder are: how is the OSG ahead of us at every turn? Is it because they have plants everywhere? And if so, who can we trust?
they almost have to have them. They almost have to.
Nurse says, I don't think we should trust anyone.
Well, I mean, I don't, so
Do we look like a very trusting bunch?
I trusted one person and then I had to kill him. So
Yeah, that's true. You would not be very trusting after that.
Something to think on.
indeed.
Indeed. All right. Do y'all want to take a quick break? I think
Yeah.
this is a good spot for a break. We can come
Yeah.
back and do the next day and then make a plan for the next time, perhaps.
Okay.
See what y'all want to do. All right, folks, we'll be back in 10-ish minutes, maybe.
Sounds good.
Yep.
All right. See you soon, folks. And we're back.
Hello.
Hope you all got your snacks. We got our snacks. We got our waters. Hydration for the next round of negotiations with the elves.
Fucking elf.
The goody girl mint cookies. The Mountain Dew hero. Even your shirt's Mountain Dew green. Is it a Mountain Dew shirt? Why am I not surprised? Oh, I can't wear green because it'll mess with the green screen. So, but we are back and we are ready to get this show back on the road for all of you folks out there in Twitchland.
Twitchland.
All of you bots that are watching the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in.
I have had some version of the same bot follow my channel 7 times in the last 3 weeks.
Is it Haas0031? Yeah.
That's the one.
Yep. They're follow bots and all they do is, aggregate data of. Anyway, that's a whole nother stream. We can talk about bots.
Yep.
Did y'all want to do anything? The night got pretty late after the dinner party. You went back, rummaged through Furbolg's stuff.
Who are we gonna have? I mean, I guess Clark, are you okay holding on to all that stuff, or
Unless you guys wanted to divvy it up, yeah, I guess I'm fine hanging on to it. The crystal ball in his possession.
yes?
Do we know that it is the globe of true seeing?
I think at least 1 or 2 of us had been part of conversations where it was identified as probably that same globe. Yeah.
I think so. I think it was identified as a globe of true seeing. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magically identified. So I know it says crystal ball of true seeing, but I think that's the book name for it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've called it and the gems a bunch of different things, so I just assumed.
Nope, we got that sorted. Is there anything else that you had a question about in there?
Not at the moment, at least.
Okay. Well, if anything jumps out, feel free to shoot it over and ask, and I will definitely answer what I can. If y'all aren't going to do anything else the rest of the night, then the next day comes up. You still haven't heard back from Matches. Apparently, he's still interrogating the prisoner. Hopefully, he hasn't flown off with your airship and left you all abandoned and marooned with the elves.
Yeah, that crossed my mind.
He wouldn't dare.
You don't think so?
I'll kill him.
He needs us. He can't leave.
Does need us.
He does, but I don't think he thinks that he needs us.
That's probably accurate.
Probably.
Oh. So I guess if y'all just wanted to wander around or go to do you remember who was it that asked about a library?
It would have been Matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been Matches, and he may not have told you all about it. Actually, I think it was Matches, though. Oh, why am I so tired tonight? Sorry, folks. I'm very tired tonight. A reminder for the lay of the land. You have the palace at the front, in the center, the tavern, the tanner, the Fletcher, the temple. I think this was I forget what that one was.
I guess we could chat. Did the Fletcher give us any idea how long it was going to take for him to work on some stuff for us? A couple days?
He said a couple of days you left your
Okay.
crossbow, and he said a couple of days you left your
Oh, that's right. I
bow.
left my crossbow, so I could not have pulled it out and set it on the table at
that's
the
right.
dinner.
That's right. You could not have. Retcon. That didn't happen.
So I pulled one of my daggers out.
There you go.
They're dealt with.
There you go.
The family dagger, so that it's important.
Yes. I guess wandering around, just hanging out in the town, or are you gonna go specifically on a search for someone?
When are we meeting up with everybody?
Basically, there was no time, so it was just whenever you wanted, they would make time to see you. So it's like they're elves; they just hang around in trees and drink wine and all day. So
Is that what they do?
Fucking hippies.
Probably why they were so easy to attack the first time.
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah. I did have a thought. Perhaps we, in front of the advisors, tell the lady that, what was his name? McElgran was among those on the hit list, presumably dead. And see if either of those advisors react in a way that might give them up as a plant.
That's not a bad idea.
Neris has some good ideas sometimes.
Yeah, sounds like a great idea.
Okay. So I take it you all just want to make your way to the palace and...
Yeah, sure, why not? I can't think of anybody else I need to talk to. Not right now.
Okay. So you make your way to the palace and the guards, let you in. You're wandering around and wander your way around. They take you to kind of a sitting area, plush couches and furniture there. And one of them goes in and they come back out and say, she'll be with you in a few moments. The doors open up a few minutes later. And it's just Lady Alyssa, and you see in, and you can see the two advisors are sitting inside. And she says, "Please come in. Let's finish our conversation. And I know you all are eager to get back on the road, and you have much travel to do. So let's discuss what we need to discuss."
Okay.
And you head in and sit down there, and the two advisors are in the room as well. And she says, "So my advisors have told me that the things that you have learned, that there is a great force, and we should really worry about them. They have the ability to kind of teleport into places and quickly in, quickly out.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're asking for our assistance in alignment with the treaty. Now, with our treaty, there were specific concessions made by each signing party. I'm sure you're aware of this."
Mm.
And yeah, you all have a copy of the treaty.
Yeah, we have it.
So
we understand that each group has certain concessions, certain limitations as to what they can do and how they can offer up support and all that. And we're not looking to change or alter or force anyone to do anything that they can't or are unable to do. We want to make sure that this treaty is solid. We want to make sure that everyone who has signed this treaty is on board, because that's where we are. The Sacred Grove is actively coming against every signatory to this treaty. And we need to make sure that everyone who has pledged to support the treaty is in fact going to support the treaty.
are we sure that they are acting alone?
I wouldn't say that we're sure they're acting alone. I don't know that we can be sure that they're acting alone, but I can tell you that the Order of the Sacred Grove is the visible party coming against all of us.
There are other groups mentioned in the treaty that could be acting with them, but we haven't heard anything from them.
Right.
This is all very, very hard for me. My apologies if I ask some of the same questions. You see, she starts in about her life story. And it's only been recently that my father even allowed me to kind of fill the role in his absence, and now suddenly, without much experience, here I am having to fill it permanently, and he hasn't even been laid to rest yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of this just is coming at me really fast, and I'm
Sure.
just looking for all of the information so that I can make the most informed decision. It's troubling, for sure.
Understandably. So we have reason to believe we were given a list, a hit list that we pulled off of one of the dead OSG leaders that lists the leaders of each of the members of the treaty, and some of them are marked out as though they were already assassinated. And one of those is and I'm going to try to look at Arwen while this is going. One of those is Michael Gran, supposedly a wielder of power at the bastion of Ashix the Dire.
And Lady Alyssa will look at you and say, "Yes, Michael is the caretaker there. He's been the caretaker there for many years. What do you know of the bastion?" And you see, at the mention of his name being dead, you're looking at Erwin. You see her bristle a little bit, and with a kind of a puzzled look on her face.
We believe that the Order of the Sacred Grove, part of the reason they're able to move as quickly as they are moving, as we mentioned before, quite a big lead up. They have obviously put a lot of time and effort into all of this, but we think they had plans. We feel that's the only way they could have gotten in and assassinated everybody so quickly, which would indicate that somebody here in your camp is working with the Order of the Sacred Grove.
Right. Let's see. That logic is sound. If they truly are steps ahead of you, would make sense that they would have someone inside the organizations. That's even more troubling now. I can't even trust my own people.
That brings to question, milady, how trustworthy are your people? And I look square at Kalan and Arwen. I mean, I don't mean to cast any doubt on anybody, but we got to know who we can trust.
Well, they were my father's advisors. So he trusted them, so I should trust them, right? That's
your father's. I don't want this to sound crass, but your father's dead.
This is true.
And if someone inside is what led to his death, that's the fear that we have, right?
It would have been somebody close to him,
True.
such as one of his advisors.
And during this, is there any more flinches or anything from either of those two asshats?
Do you need us to make some rolls?
No, you don't need to roll for that at all. With that, Kalan turns to Erwin and said, and says, "You've got to be kidding me. You were the only one that knew his travel plans. I didn't even know where he was going." And they start fighting back and forth a little bit, arguing. "I wouldn't dare. It couldn't possibly be me. What motivations would I have to do that? I can't be working for the Order of the Sacred Grove. That's just preposterous. It's This is, well, it's certainly not me. I didn't know where he was even going. It was a complete secret. You were the one that took the message from Lady Story." And they both look at each other and say, "Wait. What if she's behind all? What if she's working for the Order of the Sacred Grove? It could be her. She could have set everybody up."
I guarantee you, on my life, it's not Lady Story.
Well, how did she survive the attack?
We saved her.
And how do we know you're not here to assassinate all of us?
We would have already done
You'd
it.
be dead already. As I'm twirling my dagger between my cat paw.
Don't we look like murder hobos? I mean, come on.
Kalan says, I do not doubt that you have the ability to have done that already. And he calls out, "Guards! Guards!" And they come running in, and he says, points at Erwin, "Arrest her. She's a conspirator."
I hate doing this. Insight check. Fuck.
Yeah, everybody can make a reactionary check of their choice to whether it's insight or
God damn it. Fucking Vale. Read a book, motherfucker.
What else could we make besides insight?
Perception, maybe?
yeah, it could be a perception. There could be, let me see what other let me see something here. Investigation. I'll let you roll an investigation, or yeah, I think investigation. You're in the middle of all of this kind of back and forth anyway.
22.
22.
Oh,
Yes.
it's about fucking time one of us rolled something good.
I know, right?
And come on, roll it. Why is it not rolling
I don't
for
know.
Neris?
I don't know.
Why can I not roll for Neris?
I might be able to. Give me a
Yeah, if
second.
you can't. I can't for whatever reason. Maybe I don't have the... Oh, that's why. I bet I can now. I, for whatever reason, wasn't... Yep, I can now. Dun, 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 dun.
Damn.
There we go. Yep. You see, Clark, you're the only one to see this. As Erwin just stands there and puts her hands out, you catch a glint of something very small in her hand. Smaller than a dagger. It looks like a needle. And as the guards walk up to her to take her under arrest, she pulls the needle back. And then now everyone can see it as she pulls it out. And she aims right for Kalan. And that is going to miss as he sees it coming, grabs her hand and stops it. And they take her under arrest and take the vial and needle away from her. She is fighting a little bit, but the guards have her well subdued, And she says, I can't believe this. You're framing me. You're setting me up. This can't be. And they kind of drag her out of the room. And Alyssa says, Kalan, how did you know? How? That was reckless. You could have gotten hurt. And she says it less of a leader and more in a caring tone about him.
I don't think he'd have gotten hurt.
And says, yes, I'm quite capable of handling myself. Erwin and I, we've sparred before. I know how she moves. Anyway, what is this? And he pulls the vial out with the needle on it. Some kind of potion or poison, perhaps. She's going to stab me with it. And he has a vial with a kind of a syringe, like a needle on it. And there is a liquid in it. And she says, well, we have to, we're going to have to find out what she knows. That's for sure.
If you need an interrogator, I'm very good at interrogations. As a matter of fact, both of us are, and I point at Vale.
Also, above the table, would having access to a poisoner's kit, because I have a poisoner's kit, would that also help me to identify poisons that exist already?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
I would like to see if I can identify.
It'll
what's
tell
in the
you if a
vial.
substance is a poison or is not.
All right, let's see what we get. Oh yeah.
Yes, this is definitely a poison. You know, it is a very deadly and fast-acting toxin. It is a concentrated formula from one of the most venomous snakes on the planet that you are aware of. Alchemists have been known to cook it down for assassins, basically concentrating it, and it can kill within seconds of entering the bloodstream.
You're a lucky guy.
Well, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Maybe even too lucky, but fortune was on your side today.
Ah, so it was. And he says, Lady Alyssa, I think we need to figure out exactly what's happening here. And we could have rank and file that are corrupted. We need to contain the fallout from this arrest and make sure that it doesn't spread. No one can say anything about it. And she agrees and says that she trusts him. She says, thank you so much for uncovering the plot. Thank you so much for finding the mole. Perhaps we will be a little safer now.
I wouldn't say that the threat is gone. I think you've just scratched the surface.
Well, for saving my life and protecting my strategist and my bodyguard, I wish to offer you a gift.
I like gifts.
And she goes to the back of the room. There's a chest, and see her fumble with a dial on the chest for a second. She opens it up. She reaches in and pulls out a staff. The top of this staff is a crystal. It's kind of milky, polished, perfect sphere. And she walks over to you and she hands it to you and says, this is the staff of the moon. It's been in my family for 700 years. We lost it once.
Did you say the staff of the moon?
Well, yes, you are familiar with it.
Well, maybe heard of it once or twice. Yeah.
Well, you're from the Order of the Twin Moon, so I'm
Yes,
not
we are.
surprised. So this is the Staff of the Moon. I hope that it will aid you. We pledge 100 warriors, and we'll send them immediately to Karnangather, and along with the rest of our requirements based upon the treaty. And you think for a second, you're like, we haven't seen 100 people since we've been here. Where in the hell are they going to get 100 warriors?
Mhm.
But she pledges 100 warriors and hands you the Staff of the Moon. She says, you seem puzzled that I would have this.
Little.
Surprised?
You know what it is, right?
This is the Staff of the Moon. Yeah, it's...
You know why the Staff of the Moon is important, right?
No, it's just been in my family forever. Is there something special about it that I don't know?
Yeah.
Did Erwin know that you had this?
No, Kalan's the only person to ever know that I had this. Because he inventoried all of the weaponry and items that were in my father's possession after he passed away, and keeps it in a log.
And I turned to Kalan and do you know what this is?
Yes, I know what this is.
You know its significance.
Yes, I do. And I know that you are the right ones to have it.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, it would not be yours at this time.
Uh-huh. I look at Brata and I look at Clark and I go, huh?
Erwin was sniffing around about the Staff of the Moon, and I gave her a tale. A legend, if you will. A story. To keep her off the scent. I had my suspicions that she was working outside the Order of the Sacred Grove, and I couldn't prove it, and this does. I would imagine that she has asked you to go on a quest to try to retrieve this item.
She did talk to us last night a little bit, yeah.
As I suspected. That's why I told her the story. Reminded her of it even the day we were supposed to meet for dinner.
What story did you tell her?
Oh, that it was lost after the Great War, and that it was thrown to the far reaches of the realm so that no one could ever find it again. All the while we've had it. The staff we gave was not the Staff of the Moon. See, the 4 races were each given an artifact by the gods thousands of years ago, and those artifacts are artifacts from the gods. They were created by the gods. Cannot be destroyed by man. But if you put these artifacts together, you can control and manipulate reality and time. It is our protection of these artifacts that keeps it from unraveling the multiverse, if you will. Now, Quill is real, and Quill is out to get these. But we had the Staff of the Moon, and there was nothing that was going to stop us from keeping it. He has the crown of knowledge. This we know. The dwarves are still in possession of the axe. And if you say you have the globe of true seeing, then you have 2 of the 4. The dwarves have 3, and Quill has 1.
Kalan, would you know it if you saw it? The orb?
The globe of true seeing?
Would you know it if you saw it?
I think so. I've studied this for quite some time.
I look at Clark.
I'll reluctantly pull it out and show it to him.
And wow. That's bad. That's real sad. So I rolled a 2 on the table and I rolled a 1 and rolled 20. So no, he does not recognize this. He says it looks the shape, it looks the type. Do you know how to use it? If it is it, I mean, it's been a long time. Maybe it is. I'd have to study it. I have to compare it to the book, to the notes. There's a book in the temple. It has all of the information about all of the artifacts in it, and has illustrations as well. So perhaps we could go there and compare the notes.
Yeah, let's go take a look at this book.
Kind of like it, but Lady Alyssa says, but we're okay now, right? We've stopped it. They're not going to attack us anymore.
Be prepared.
Oh no, you think your enemies are stopped? They're not stopped. It's time to
Be
button
prepared.
button down your defenses. Don't let your guard down.
Do not let your guard down.
Alon, don't let them in. We have to protect this. She says, well, thank you again. I am in your debt. Hopefully the staff will help you along your journey. And when you get to the bastion of Ashix, make sure that you secure any information that might be about the artifacts or about the locations of others. It is vital that it does not fall into the hands of the Order of the Sacred Grove.
Refresh my memory. Do we have any means of communicating with Lady Story rapidly?
We had a scroll or something that
Mhm.
let us communicate with Marshall, I think. Either Marshall or Oakflum. I
Yeah.
can't remember which one, but not with her.
I think it was Oakflum.
Yep. I think it was Oakflum. It was a scroll of message. So you could send a short message. What is it? Message spells like 25,
150 characters. No, it's
25
25
words.
Yeah, it's 25 characters.
or 25 words. Yeah.
25 words.
So
Like a tweet.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind
it's
of like a tweet. It's a D&D tweet.
Uh-huh. Okay. We may want to get word to Lady Story about some of our theories, but we may have to go see her to do that.
We
'Cause
have the orb of travel.
yeah. Well, and from what I'm hearing, the orb of true seeing will allow us to do the same thing if that's what this is. I think we should go to the library and verify that that's what this is. Because if we can go anywhere we need to go,
Of
that could be
course-
good.
Of course, the bookie one is back at the ship.
Yeah, we should probably check on him too.
Would y'all want to go to the library and investigate? And then,
Yes, let's go to the library.
all right. Khan says, I have to stay here, get the defenses readied. If you're right and they have the ability to come, then they may already know that we have her. If that's not the globe of true seeing and they still have it, then they may be able to see that we have taken down their plot.
Okay. To the library.
To the library. All right. You run across the boardwalks. You get over to the temple, to the library. Of course, the temple folk are there, asking and ask you, can we help you with anything?
We're looking for a book. We're looking for a book about ancient artifacts, the artifacts of the gods. We want to do some reading on it.
Ah.
We were told Lady Alyssa said it was here that we could look at it.
Oh, well, why didn't you start with that?
Because
Sure, this way. And they
because
take
I'm
you,
a cat and I'm cryptic.
they take you to a room within the library. It is a room with a single book on a pedestal in the center of the room. The book looks as though it is nearly falling apart.
Okay.
It is just in really old book. It said, please do not touch this with your hands. In order to turn the pages, all you need to do is wave your hand in the direction you want to go, and the pages will turn automatically for you. This book does contain an enchantment. It cannot be lifted or taken from this pedestal. But this has all the information that you seek.
Okay.
So if y'all want to peruse the book, a couple of, let's see, probably a couple of investigate, maybe a couple knowledge.
Well, the first thing that Vale's going to do is they said all he's got to do is move his hand over it and it'll turn the page, right? So the first thing Vale's going to do is he's going to go and see if it changes the page.
And it does. The page flops over very gently.
And then he does it again.
And it does it again.
And then he does it again, followed by his other paw twice.
So like the same way or opposite ways?
The same, just turn the page twice. Same way.
Yep. So
Just
2 pages turn.
He kind of chuckles a little bit. And then he takes his paws and he goes.
And the pages just ruffle up and fall over.
That is so cool. All right. Anyway, sorry. Distracted.
This book is bound. It's a leather bound book. Instead of a traditional binding, though, it has these cords that wrap through all of the pages. Think of like a Trapper Keeper kind of ring binder, but with cordage.
Okay. But a spiral bound book with rope.
Yeah.
Or string.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you say a couple of investigate checks.
Yeah, you can read through a couple of investigations. If you have specific knowledge or history, those will help.
Bale's pretty smart.
Apparently.
So his investigation is pretty good. He's not wise, but he's very smart.
I think Neris will do some investigation.
Okay.
Rata doesn't like books.
Looks bad.
Books are lame.
I mean, are we all just crowding around this one book looking at it?
I mean, we don't have to, but
No, you can. I mean, that there's the whole rest of the library. This is the book, though, that
this is the book
that they sent you about. So, all right. Vale, in your fluttering of the pages, you catch a glimpse of the staff of the moon.
Okay.
You catch a glimpse of the staff with the kind of a milky white ball on top of it, and you stop. With that investigate, I will give you that you think you're near the right page, so you kind of flip back and forth a couple of times. Eventually, you get to the globe, and it is a larger version of what you see on the staff of the moon, but it's a clear crystal ball, completely spherical. And the description that it reads, it says, crafted by the gods to keep an eye on the people, handed to the people to keep so they could see the gods in a time of need.
Okay.
Lost in time, recovered several, long lore about this whole thing.
Sure.
The skill of the abilities of the globe are that it allows you to see anyone that you know where they are in the world. It will spawn gems of true seeing at a rate of 2 per day for a maximum of 8 per full charge. And it has to be recharged. It can only be recharged under the light of a full moon.
Okay.
So it has to be set out all the entire night of the moon to be recharged.
So I'm guessing that this thing is not charged.
You have
I
no
guess-
way of knowing that right now.
All right. So we can see anyone that we know.
Mm-hmm. Basically,
I
it
wanna
allows
s-
you to scry.
I want to see somebody from the orphanage
Who do you want to scry?
who was still alive.
I wasn't Mother Sushin still alive?
Mother Sushin's still alive. Was Brother Tom still alive, or did
Yeah, the
Yeah.
only leader who died was Verona.
Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to see. I want to see if I can see Mother Sushin.
So the instructions for activation are in the book.
Yep.
There's a small incantation.
Well, hold on. Are we by ourselves now, or are the elves still watching us?
No, you're by yourselves. They trusted you.
Okay.
You said
So,
you
yeah,
were
I wanna
sent from the
see-
palace, so they trust
I want
you.
to see if I can see Mother Sushin.
So there's a small incantation that you have to say, and you do the incantation. You do your hands around the globe, and sure enough, after just a couple seconds, the town of Karnagathar comes into view from afar, and slowly it kind of gets a little closer. You can see that the gnomes have made it, and you see you go in through a doorway, and it looks like you're in the inn, and it kind of floats around. Your view floats around people, and you see Mother Sushin and Brother Tom sitting at a table eating and talking.
What are they talking about?
Just the day,
Okay.
how things are doing, the arrival of the gnomes, you know.
I look at Brata and Clark, and I this is it. This is the globe.
I
I
thought
can-
we already knew that.
Well, I just it. I can see Mother Sushin in the globe. This is it. Confirmed.
You do some weird stuff with that.
Hmm. I would like to read more about what the globe can do.
The globe will allow the wielder to cast Dimension Door up 3 times per day.
Okay, that's what 500 feet.
Is Dimension Door 500 feet? I think
Dimension doors 500 feet. Yeah.
Let's see. 300 feet. It used to
Was
be
it 3?
500 feet.
Okay.
It can place you. It can be a place you can see, one you can visualize, or one you can describe by stating a
Okay.
distance in the direction, such as 200 feet straight down, upward
Okay.
to the northwest.
Okay.
You can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you can carry.
And you can also take one willing person
Within
or one
5
willing
feet of
creature.
you,
Yeah,
yes.
within 5 feet. Okay.
Range is 500 feet. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It also allows the wielder to cast let's see, is it make sure I get the right one.
Okay.
Yep. It allows you to cast teleport. It has a number of charges
Okay.
equal to the wielder's level. And once fully expended, the globe will disintegrate.
Hmm. Okay.
So you have to recharge it.
So I will convey all of that information to the party and make sure that they understand, teleport's kind of, we have it, but if we don't have to use it, don't use it, because we don't want to burn them all and then have this thing just disappear on us.
It too can be recharged by the light of the moon
Okay.
at the same rate as cast.
So if you use up a few of each of them and you just let it sit out overnight, they all recharge?
A full moon.
Yeah, full moon, right. Full moon.
So basically you have these charges
once a month.
for a month. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Cool.
And then for the description, you can just use the spell descriptions for both Dimension Door and Teleport
Okay.
that are in the book. By the way, over the tail, I did pick up the DMG and Monster Manual and Player's Handbook for Roll20 too, so I have those in mind now as well. So
Fancy.
I'm adding some books. I also picked up Witch Beyond the what is it, Phalite or whatever? Yeah.
Ooh, neat.
The Light Beyond the Witch Wild. I think that
Mhm.
yeah, that's what it's called.
That's the one.
I picked that up too as a module. So
Cool.
fun stuff. So that's what you learn about that.
Okay.
That you have confirmed, and now you know what it does. As a result, let's see, probably
Teleport is 5 people? Or is it 6?
up to 8 willing creatures
8.
of your
Okay.
choice
Up to 8. Got
that
it.
you can see within range, or a single object that you can see within range to a destination you select.
Okay. So if we had to, we could evacuate our entire party and then some using the 2 modes of transportation that we have, as long as we're going someplace that we've been for the other teleportation orb.
Yes.
Because
there-
that one was limited to only places that we've been.
Yes. Correct.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
All right. So, tell you what, why don't y'all see who can put 2 and 2 together here.
Okay.
Go ahead and make geez, there's not really a good role for this, like, as far as skill goes. Really seems like it would be something more along the lines of something that Clark would have, like a tactics or strategy kind of thing, but I don't know exactly what like skill that would be. Like,
so if it's tactics or
Could just be intelligence.
could just be intelligence.
yeah, it's going to be an intelligence check if it's a tactics based thing.
Oh, my intelligence sucks, but I can make an intelligence check if you want. I'm a wisdom-based character, not intelligence.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, no. So yeah, you know what? Tactics would be more wisdom than smarts.
That's what I'm looking at. Like, insight.
I wouldn't call it an insight
It's
check.
not really insight, but
I would
it's
say
in that
just
same vein of stuff.
I would say that's a
I think wisdom check makes sense. Intelligence would be like figuring it out. Wisdom would be having the experience and previous learning to see the pattern, right? So
Yeah. So I think
Yeah, I mean,
wisdom
that
does
wisdom
make
would make
sense. Yep.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, wisdom is what goes along with the samurai diplomacy thing. Like, my
Mhm.
Yeah.
charisma turns into a wisdom check instead. So,
right.
okay.
Let's do that.
Yay, wisdom.
Oh yeah.
21.
Yeah.
21. So yeah, you definitely can put together the pieces, having heard all this now, that knowing the size of the strike teams that you've encountered at each fight you've had with the OSG has been 8 or less, with the exception of the orphanage, but you had multiple, like, large groups there. So there could have
Mhm.
been several people teleported in at once.
Yeah.
Like, they could have burned several charges, and then, and this has
Mhm.
happened over the past month. So it could be one of these things where, you see what I'm getting at? You're kind of figuring it out, how they're
Yeah.
moving people so quick now.
Yeah.
How they're moving forces so quickly. The other thing about teleport is you can transport an object as long as that object fits within a 10 by 10 cube.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to over the table tell you something that's really OP about this because I think it's crazy. It doesn't say that that object has to be empty. So if you have a box 10 by
10 by 10.
and it's got some people in it, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
A bag of holding, or however many bags of holding
yeah.
you can shove in there.
I really wish I still had my bag of holding from the last campaign.
Yeah. So
it had dragon guts in it.
That kind of stuff you would figure out anyway. With the 21, yeah, it did have dragon guts and scales.
It had dragon guts in it. Yeah. I miss it.
So you figure that out. You being the tactically minded one can definitely put together that that's how they were moving.
Oh, good thing I don't have it anymore.
Ain't that the truth?
And the fact that you've only run into a scout now, and the last time you heard of any troop movements was when Matches returned from his journey. He told you he saw a large force getting on a boat.
Yes. So where were they going?
They weren't teleporting.
Right. Where were they going?
So
maybe we need to go there. Wherever they were going. I don't know how we figure that out.
I don't know. But maybe that's something for next time to figure that out.
I think you might be onto something.
Y'all have learned a lot, asked a lot of questions. So what do y'all think? You want to call it here? I think this is a good stopping point.
I think this is a good spot. Yeah. I think this is a good spot.
So
yeah.
I know that we were a little short staffed tonight on the screen. It kind of made it a little bit tougher, but we made it through, and all for the wiser now. We have some interesting information to go forward with.
Indeed.
Folks, make sure you're on our Discord so you can talk to everybody that is on all of our shows. Speaking of which, over the next 7 days, we have 6 shows.
Yeah.
How about that? We have Tales from the Loop on Monday, hopefully, crossing our fingers for that to make sure that happens. Weird on Tuesday. Delta Green on Wednesday. Yeah, hopefully. Delta Green on Wednesday. Nothing on Thursday. We're taking Thursday off. Then we have a new D&D campaign that I am running, but not on this channel. We'll be hosting it here, so we'll be showing it on this channel. It'll be hosted by the Military Veterans and Gaming's charity. They're a 501c3, and so they've asked for a Dungeon Master to come in and do a game for them. I'll be running that game. I'm writing a module specifically for that game, a homebrew module. So here's the secret. It's set in this same world.
What?
Why would you do that to us?
I know, right? It's set in the same world. Oh. Don't know. I'm not going to tell you what the timeline is, but it's set in the same world. So
all I ask is that if it's in the future, that there are tales of Veil of Shadows.
No.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, there'll be
tales. They'll be like, man, that guy was an asshole.
There'll be pieces of tales.
I don't care what the tales are.
There might be pieces of the tale of Veil scattered around depending on how this game ends up. But no, please tune in for that. And then next Saturday at noon, we're back on here with some more Dungeons and Dragons. We're playing Horde of the Dragon Queen. So lots going on over the next week. Make sure you join us. Make sure you hang out with us. Follow us on all the socials. Follow us on our YouTube. Subscribe button there. The follows here. We're only 5 away. Yep, 5 away from our goal, which I think we're going to hit our goal. When we do, I'll do something cool, like maybe give away something. So make sure if you're watching this on the VOD or you're watching this on YouTube, come back here, twitch.tv/United Adventure Company, and click the follow button, because we're going to do something cool when we hit 100. That's about all I have for tonight, folks. Anybody got anything else? Nope.
That's all I got.
Cool beans. We had a blast tonight. It's always fun with you folks. We love you all to pieces. But until next time, get out of our dungeon. Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.